That is a target that we've had, because our view is if you can't demonstrate that level of leadership at the centre and the heart of government, then how can we call on the private sector to do the same? So we're hoping to model what's possible. Our view is that it should be possible. We do have an issue within our core government departments at the moment that we want to send a message to our CEs that we see it as a priority. Overall, my view is this: in 2017, we cannot continue to send a message to young women expect to be paid 10% less simply for their gender. That is not a message that can continue.
So are there any concrete steps you can take, though, to making it happen? It's not something you can really legislate for, is it?
Oh, look, when it comes to our core government departments, we already know the size of the gaps. There's already some measurement there. I think there's been plenty of examples of how individual companies have been able to weed out gender pay gaps. Our expectation is that we look at some of that best practice and start implementing it within those departments.
Well, your minister, though, for Women's Affairs, Julianne Genter of the Green Party, is sitting outside of Cabinet. Does that perhaps send the wrong message?
My view was that I wanted to use the experience, the interest, the advocacy that existed regardless of whether they were inside or outside of Cabinet, and that's what I've chosen to do. I did the same on climate change. That does not lessen the priority that this government has around those issues.
One big story that has been in the news a lot globally has been the Harvey Weinstein Hollywood allegations. As terrible as that's been, do you feel that that's really opened a global discussion about the way that women are treated in the workplace?
Well, it certainly appears to have. The question that probably everyone has now is the what next? I think these global conversations are incredibly important, but they're only precursors really to what needs to follow, and that is a change in culture, a change in behaviour. So that is what I hope comes next. I know in New Zealand that we have been having this debate triggered by different events in our past for some time. It's led us to believe that there is a need for conversations with young people in particular around issues of consent, healthy relationships. How do we start embedding that into our culture, into our conversations, so that we prevent further down the track the shock and, in some cases, the lack of shock, because there's almost this expectation of this terrible behaviour. How do we prevent that happening in the future so these Me Too hashtags become something of the past?
Is there a potential to have that discussion within your own cabinet, though? And I'm thinking particularly of Shane Jones, who came unglued for putting a pornographic movie on a ministerial credit card. He's now on your cabinet table. How are you going to manage a personality like that?
Look, Minister Jones went through a significant period of dealing with that publicly and privately. I would say that I have high expectations of my ministry that is shared individually by each of those ministers. We must always strive to maintain a high standard, but I think in New Zealand, by and large, we do.